All right, folks, it's 3:15 on this Monday, November the 28th, and it's time for a behind-the-scenes weather model discussion. How's it going, everyone? William Cole here in the Storm Studio. Hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. It seems like it's been forever since we've done one of these. It's been almost a week since we have, but again, we're back on schedule now after the holidays. Of course, this is where we like to show you the raw data, give you the behind-the-scenes view of how we've been putting together the forecast of the day. And we've got a lot going on this week. We've got a fairly decent cold front that's going to be arriving late tomorrow, Tuesday. And then I tell you, as we head into this upcoming weekend, it's looking more and more unsettled. Could we maybe even have an opportunity of some strong thunderstorms by late weekend? We're going to talk about that. Of course, this segment, this bonus content that we like to do for social media, number one, it's brought to you by our Patreon subscribers, right? For $2.99 per month, you can be a Patreon subscriber, help to support this, but also our mobile app and also our live channel as well. Patreon.com/WeatherTrackerTV. If you want to, feel free to sign up. Again, otherwise, if you're watching us on social media, be sure to give us a like and feel free to leave a comment or a question below as well. So let's go and get to it. Like I mentioned, we've got a lot to talk about today. And what we'll do, in fact, we'll just start with the live cam. This is what we typically like to do. And look at all that blue sky, right? If you were here for the holidays in North Texas, it was cloudy, it was rainy, it was chilly. Maybe you had family somewhere a little warmer you were able to get away to. But I tell you what, we're definitely making up for that today. Again, with plentiful sunshine out there. And temperatures have really bounced. I tell you, my forecasted high today was 65. That's what most of the model data was showing this morning. And again, we've at least already at 3:15 bounced to 68. Not impossible to still add a degree or maybe even 2 degrees to that final number. So today, mild to, I think you could almost call it warm here in North Texas. Elsewhere around the region, you can see temperatures a little bit less mild up in Oklahoma with OKC at 62, some 50s up in Kansas, and then take a look down around the Brownsville area. It's currently 79 degrees down there, and even though it's 79 down around Brownsville and Padre, take a look at this. We're going to go ahead and switch on over here to the raw data. This is what we like to get to, and this is just the visible satellite, right? This is not going to be the stuff we show on the air. This is, again, what we use here in the Storm Studio. So we're just kind of showing you, again, this kind of alternate view of the data, right? But it's been cloudy down in the Brownsville area. Where I'm going with this is take a look at all this low-gray cloud cover. Even though they're very warm, you can see that area gray. It's just not really even moving down there. Believe it or not, as we go through this evening and tonight, that area of gray is going to surge to the north. And even here in North Texas, to start your Tuesday morning, it's going to be pretty cloudy. Low gray stratus cloud cover to start the day. And then also notice off here to the north and to the northwest, it's a totally different type of cloud. This is what we call cirrus cloud cover, right? Streaked high-level cloud cover. It's coming in from the jet stream, and again, you can really see the motion, right? It's moving fairly quickly, and that intensifying jet stream motion you're seeing there sooner rather than later, not in North Texas, but just off to our east tomorrow, Tuesday, there appears to be a pretty serious round of severe weather with even some strong tornadoes possible. Again, not in North Texas, but to our east. I'll show you that again coming up momentarily. But again, you can already begin to see the jet stream. There it is, energizing, and again, eventually pushing off to the east there as well. Let's look at the upper air chart here. And this is really the meat and potatoes, right? Most of our forecast will almost be derived off of this, right? We're going to fill in the holes, right, with the high-res data, with the global model data, all of that. But the overall pattern that we're in, this is it. And this is what we call the 500 millibar chart at about 18,000 feet. And again, what we're looking for here, we're looking for dips and we're looking for ridges, right? So dips are active weather, and you can either have a big dip, kind of more of like a long wave trough, or you can have little bitty short wave troughs mixed in, little compact storm systems, which would be active weather this time of year, typically chillier weather, or again, you can have a ridge, which is quieter weather, and again, typically a little milder weather this time of year. So we've got a big old long wave trough coming in from the west, right? That's what's eventually going to even push the cold front into our area late tomorrow. But embedded within this trough, in fact, there's several little distinct shortwaves. So this will be a fairly active trough as it comes out. For us here in North Texas, it's not going to do much as far as precipitation. It's essentially a swing and a miss. We have what's called dry frontal passage with our front tomorrow evening. But tomorrow, ahead of the front, as we get that low-grade cloud cover and that surge of Gulf of Mexico moisture up, we may have a few showers in our eastern counties. There's a very low end 20 to 30% probability over there tomorrow. Again, otherwise our forecast up until this weekend, it's mostly dry as we go through this work week. Okay, so that's the overall pattern, and we can also see that here in the water vapor imagery as well, right? So even as we look at the water vapor imagery, you can actually see, again, the jet stream coming out. You can see it diving down and then coming back up. So again, all this motion you're currently seeing here, again, that will eventually move on off to the east, and actually up in here we have a little area of low pressure, and we have a cold front extending off of that, and again, that cold front is what will be arriving tomorrow. So a little animation there for you as well to kind of give you the overall setup. So with all of that in mind, let's go ahead and begin to dig into the forecast now, right? So quickly we'll look at the convective outlook. This will be important just to show you kind of what's potentially going to happen tomorrow just off to our east, right? Today, basically quiet. No severe weather anticipated this afternoon. As we get into tomorrow, again, not that this is North Texas, but it's in the region and it's significant enough that even on our weather model discussion here, let's go ahead and highlight it. Again, a lot of folks have friends, family, loved ones that maybe live over in Shreveport or again, maybe over into parts of, Mississippi, locations like that. This is a big deal. Okay, so we've already got a moderate risk of severe weather. That would be a level 4 out of a level 5. Moderate, you don't see those that often throughout the year, right? We typically get, several, 4 or 5 of them throughout the year, but again, they're pretty rare, right? Typically you'll see a marginal, a slight, or an enhanced, right? So once you get to moderate, it's kind of the upper end, and then obviously we have kind of the very rare high risk that again is issued obviously from time to time as well. So we've got the moderate risk, and the bullseye is really from Monroe, Louisiana, all the way up through Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, that's kind of the bullseye there of that moderate risk. Now the main concern here, it is tornadoes. And it is strong to potentially even long-lived tornadoes. This is a 15% tornado probability. Not impossible. It's not impossible that even maybe ticks up one more notch before tomorrow. This appears to be a pretty decent tornado setup. Supercells will be likely. A broken line of supercells will be likely with this. Again, damaging winds a concern, and again also hail a concern with any of that supercell activity as well. But again, the primary concern, a lot of times it's hail, wind, and maybe a tornado possible, right? You hear us say that all the time. This situation is completely different. Severe weather, tornadoes possible to likely, and then wind, and then hail. So again, like I mentioned, when it's in that order, it's a pretty big deal. So we'll be watching that again as the day unfolds tomorrow. But again, like I mentioned, all of that will be off to our east. Okay, from there, let's go ahead and dive into the model data. This is what we really like to get into. Then obviously we're going to hone into our North Texas forecast. I've kind of got a tighter zoomed view there. And so what we're going to do, we're going to start where we left off with that upper air chart, right? The 500 millibar chart, 18,000 feet. We're still looking for troughs or ridges, right? This is going to dictate our weather over the next 10 days. We're looking at the European model. This is a global model, and we'll tie in all the details with this, but this will give us the overall pattern. Do we have storm systems coming in, or do we have a stagnant ridging pattern, which means we wouldn't have much in the way of active weather, right? And again, we'll walk this out over the next 10 days. So essentially beginning right now, the one thing to watch, and let me just go and highlight this for you quickly. Right, it's going to be this big troughing pattern, right? You're going to see that come on down, and at least in the near term, that's what's number one going to bring us our cold front, but also it's going to swing out and again give that opportunity of active weather again off to our east. So you see that digging down, amplifying, and then there it is. You can kind of see the negative tilt to it, right? Anytime you have a trough that leans back, it doesn't always guarantee severe weather. You have to have multiple other parameters, but a negative tilt trough, and your eyes kind of get a little bit bigger, right, when you see those, if you have the potential for severe weather, right? So negative tilt trough coming out, and there it is. So again, you can see it diving down into the southern plains, again dropping some of that cooler air into our area. I'll show you that as well coming up. So there goes our cold front number one. That again arrives late Tuesday and Wednesday. We do turn cooler Wednesday into Thursday with highs struggling in the 60s, right? After that, notice what happens. In fact, we have a bit of a ridging pattern. Let me go and show you that, just in case you're new to these, you don't know totally what a ridging pattern is. A little bump there in the jet stream flow, not a major ridge, but enough that our temperatures are going to trend back to or just above normal. And then to close out the work week, it's quiet, right? There's nothing going on. Ridging pattern, quiet weather. Ridging pattern, think of the summer heat dome, right? We're not dealing with a heat dome now, but again, think of just tranquil weather. There's really nothing going on, okay? So that was the pattern to close out the work week. But then after that, take a look at this, what we have going on. We have a big storm system coming in from the Pacific West. And again, as that storm system comes out, we'll have an opportunity of a cold front coming down, lifting back to the north as a warm front, and then in rapid succession, another front coming back down for the following Monday. Either of those could give us an opportunity of rain, storms, and maybe even some stronger storms as well. Okay, then once we get past that, what happens? You see a huge area of high pressure develop down here in the Gulf, right? You can see this kind of little donut hole, right? So we've got a big ridge developing that's mainly pushing all the active weather off to our north, right? So that's kind of there in the medium range once we get past this upcoming weekend. So we go into another fairly stagnant pattern, and then here comes one more big storm trough. You see there it is, it breaks down the ridge, and then towards the end of the 10 to 12 day period, we have one more pretty decent storm system coming in as well, right? So we're narrowing down 3 to kind of, there's even one more embedded 4th system over the next 10 days. Let's look at air mass change. Okay, this is the 850 millibar chart. This is looking just off the surface and giving us any true air mass change, right? And so as we roll this into time, you can see the cold front coming down for tomorrow, Tuesday. You can see it just scooting through. I mean, watch that. You can see the blues scooting down through the plains. So here comes the front. Now you can see North Texas, we only turn green, right? So the blue, the true cold air, stays off to the north. And I say this all the time, even though we're talking about colors and it sounds like elementary school here, we'll put actual numbers with this coming up, right? But right now we're just kind of visualizing, right, the concept now of our forecast. So there's cold front 1 with that first system. Here comes the, kind of mini ridging pattern that builds back in. You can definitely see temperatures respond right before this upcoming weekend. And then here comes the next system down. Not much in the way of cold air with that one. Then with the following system, one more. That one does tap into some chilly air, and you can see the cold front coming in, but it's more of a Pacific origin cold front, even though there's some really cold air off to the north, right? So even though right now at the end of the 12-day forecast, about 8, 9, 10, 12 days out, there is going to be one more cold front. I'll show you this on the data showing up. It's cooling us back down into the 50s. That's what the forecast is now, right about 9 to 10 days out. But notice how close that air is. That's Arctic air in the area. I mean, truly in the neighborhood, stalling up into parts of Kansas. So if for any reason that comes a little bit further south, keep in mind, it's towards the end of that 12-day forecast, towards the end of that 8, 9, 10, 11-day period, it's still at play, right? Because again, if that air oozes just a little bit further south, we may go from the 50s. That could easily put our highs in the 40s, right? So we're going to have some really cold air. In fact, the coldest air of the season in the neighborhood. I mean, literally one state to the north in about 8 days on down the road. Okay, so you're seeing that. It gets hung up there to the north, and that front comes through, and then after that, we stay on the cooler side, right? You don't see a quick rebound on temperatures. And what I want to do, I'm going to skip the order a little bit. We normally talk about precip after that. I want to skip right over to the numbers after that, okay? So that way you can see, it just kind of helps you see what I'm talking about, right? I mean, we're just talking about all the colors, but now let's put actual numbers on that, right? Okay, so for tomorrow, 76. We know tomorrow is going to be warm, just ahead of that front. So we got that, 76. In fact, that is my forecasted high. For Wednesday into Thursday, you can see us dropping right behind that first front. So there's a 50 on Wednesday, there's a 51 on Thursday, about what we have. So then here comes that next little ridging pattern, right? We rebound the temperatures quickly, but we also have that next fast-moving storm system come before the next storm trough, right? So we'll get a boundary down into the area as we get into Friday into Saturday. It may give us an opportunity of some showers and some thunderstorms. It retreats back to the north as a warm front before it comes back through late on Monday into Tuesday as another front. Right now you can see that drops us back down, and that will be the boundary we're going to need to watch, because there's going to be some pretty chilly air just off to the north. So even though we're only cooling temperatures down into the 50s, I mean we're down to right at 50 actually. Not impossible, again, if a little bit more of that air funnels down, that we could have highs in the 40s, okay? So it's within the neighborhood, right? So this kind of end part of the forecast is pretty well in play. The weekend portion, I think the temperatures look pretty good, but the bigger question for the weekend is going to be the precipitation opportunities, with maybe even the opportunity of some stronger storms. So let's go back now and we'll look at the precipitation data. And again, similar thing. This is not, and I say this all the time if you watch this, I mean, it probably gets a little mundane, but what we're looking at, first of all, here, again, this is a global model, so this is not the high res. This is not the future radar stuff that we show on TV, right? This is just signals from a model saying if we may see precipitation, right? So this looks a little messier, and you just really take away the general signals from this model, right? Kind of what it's throwing out there, not so much as a matter of fact, right? So there's tomorrow morning, and we will look at the high-res data on that. There may be a few showers over in our eastern counties. I've got a 20 to 30% opportunity in our eastern counties tomorrow, a few showers, nothing big, right? Everything will be east of us. The active weather, the severe weather outbreak tomorrow, that's east of us, right? Then after that, again, it's steady as she goes into the weekend, right? But now we know as we get into the weekend, here comes that first boundary, right? And so there may be an opportunity, and I'll stop it right here. This is Saturday, of a few showers, maybe a few thunderstorms around the area. Then that does lift back to the north on Monday, on Sunday rather, and we may have a few showers and thunderstorms around the area as well because of that, or maybe more up in Oklahoma. Again, the details on this, it's still pretty murky. We'll watch that, and then here comes that next front as we go through Monday. You'll see it right there, and the signals for Monday with the newest data, it's not as strong for Monday, right? It's showing there may be some showers, there may be some thunderstorms in the area. I've got a 30% opportunity of showers and thunderstorms on Monday. The newest set of data here this afternoon is not as bullish. I mean, to me now, this looks more like a 20% opportunity. But what we don't do is we don't necessarily flip-flop it a lot just based on one model run or two, right? We look for the model consistency. So right now, we'll keep that Monday at a 30% opportunity. If it continues to kind of dry up, then we'll lower it down. Right now, for Sunday, I also have a 30% opportunity. And again, you can see the model still pretty bullish of, again, something going on in the area, okay? So just one of the things we'll be watching. Again, like I mentioned, the weekend looks unsettled, and again, the details are just simply put not locked in. We'll look at instability here as well. And again, this is what we call CAPE, or just convective available potential energy, and this will just be our instability heading into the weekend, and this would factor into any thunderstorm opportunities. And again, you can see there's Sunday as that warm front is lifting back. Again, there may be an opportunity, depends on the exact placement of it. It may just be up in Oklahoma. And again, this doesn't guarantee severe weather, but again, could we at least have some thunder in the area, not just rain, not just showers? And again, the answer to that is yes, right? So we'll have some instability around on Sunday. And then as we go through Monday, as the front comes back down to the south, there will also be some instability as well. So again, some thunderstorm activity, again, maybe even a couple strong storms. I mean, the way it looks right now, still possible, but in order to have a strong storm, you actually have to have a storm, right? And the probabilities right now are still pretty low, and again, it's still pretty murky as well. So simply put, this weekend we're going to continue to watch it, and again, we'll just see how the data continues to unfold on that. I want to show you quickly here too the future radar for tomorrow. We're trying to make these shorter. I'm really trying to zip through this here pretty quickly. That's why I've kind of changed the order, and I've kind of trimmed this down a little bit. This will be for tomorrow morning. And again, if you look carefully over in our eastern counties, right, and these are our eastern counties, again, Metroplex here, and again, these would be our eastern counties over in here, just to kind of highlight where we're talking about on this. But again, you can see, if you look carefully, just a little smattering of green, right? Is it impossible? We have a couple showers over there in the morning to the early afternoon. It's not impossible, right? I mean, it's a 20 to, I mean, maybe 30%, 30 may be a little optimistic, but 20 to 30% opportunity of a few showers over there. Again, right now, the Metroplex, I'm not putting any rain chance in there for tomorrow at all. In fact, Metroplex basically keeping all the way dry until this upcoming weekend when we may have an opportunity, as you saw there, of again, some active weather back in the area. So that's where we are, folks. Again, this was the weather model discussion. Like I said, I've tried to kind of trim it down a little bit and speed it up a little bit going forward, maybe just to trim down on the time. There were some days we were going on almost 30 minutes. I was trying to click up something else over here, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that. In fact, this is what I was trying to put up. There we go. If you have not downloaded our free mobile app. Be sure to do that today. Again, it's available in the Apple App Store, also the Google Play Store. Just type in Weather Tracker TV. Again, completely free download. And again, like I mentioned, make sure you, your friends, family, loved ones all have it on their smartphone. Our live channels on there, my updated 12-day forecast, live radar, breaking weather alerts, all that kind of fun stuff. Everything you need to keep up with the latest North Texas weather. Otherwise, we'll do another one of these tomorrow. Like I mentioned, thanks again to our Patreon subscribers again for helping us present this each and every day, our mobile app and also our live channel as well. And then always our complete forecast, including my 12-day, again, is on the live channel. So otherwise, enjoy the rest of your back to work Monday. And again, we'll talk to you again with another behind the scenes weather model discussion tomorrow, Tuesday.